Welcome, everyone. I'd like to thank Ron and Angel Beat for putting this all together, this webinar. Hopefully, everybody on the webinar would definitely have some takeaways on some different things that it can move forward within their organization. Just an introduction to myself. My name is Al Curtis. I'm the Director of Cobb County Fleet Management. I've been in the industry for roughly about 29, 30 years, from the private sector also to the public sector. Right now I'm in the public sector serving our citizens of Cobb County. We have in the past done a lot in sustainability and electrification. But first I want to just talk about the first slide that everybody's seeing right here. We manage roughly about 2,700 pieces of equipment, quite a few miles traveled, 10 million a year. And one of the really good things I'm really proud of too is the diversification of our fueling options. We have 5 different fuels that we actually use to power our fleet. And, and that's important to the respect that with the volatility of petroleum-based products, pipelines being disrupted, hurricanes, we can still, utilize quite a bit of our fleet no matter what type of fuel gets disrupted. Because we've diversified our fleet to add in that resilience to make sure we can actually take care of our citizens within the Cobb County arena. And as you can see, we service over 766,000 residents strategically placed throughout the county. Our county encompasses quite a few cities as well, engulfed in our portfolio. Our EV fleet is one of the largest in the state. We started out early with our EV adoption. So roughly we have right now about 65 totally electric vehicles within the fleet and 50 charging stations strategically placed throughout the county to make sure our fleet can fuel. And also we have fueling stations that were erected during the beginning of electrification phase for citizens to utilize. One of the other pictures here is the gentleman looking at, I guess, the landscape of where the country and where possibilities they can go in the area of sustainability. So you have a leaf there, you have a plug-in, you have partnerships, and you have trying to reduce CO2 emissions. And based on that, that's kind of what we want to do here at the county, and being efficient, reducing our greenhouse gas footprint as it actually relates to climate. And this next picture here is our first adoption of our electrification. And all about electrification is it's all about education, putting the vehicles on the ground and putting our drivers in the seats of the vehicles. And without education and without training, it's going to be hard to adopt any particular type of electrification movement or program that you want to get moved on. This right here is my team. And right behind us is our banners. We've been part of the 100 Best Fleet, Leading Fleet, Government Fleet magazine for many years. And I pride myself on the team themselves because I couldn't do any of this. We couldn't win any of these awards without the team effort. Me letting them know where we want to go in the direction, and of course, empowering them to give me insights and to go out and look at this different technology. And that's me right there to the left. That little lightning shirt is every EV we try to, when we bring into the fleet, we try to do a storytelling, a videography of what we've done with the vehicle. So that's Ford Lightning. When we first got our Ford Lightning, we did a video, and of course I'm wearing the Ford Lightning shirt to commemorate that particular video and that ushering in a new electric vehicle within our fleet. And our fleet, as you can see, it's pretty diverse. We have 2 new female technicians that we've brought into our department. And as you can look at the picture, diversity adds a lot to an organization's upward mobility, sustainability, and different perspectives coming from all those different cultures help build, camaraderie, and also help build a strong department moving forward. Okay, We're talking about electrification. Of course, there's a lot of fears, there's a lot of challenges to overcome in deploying any type of alternative type fuels, vehicles, electric, propane, CNG. I mean, there's a lot of different options that are out there, but of course, there's fears and challenges. The first challenge is why and who and what and why. Why would you want to deploy electrification? Who will it affect? And what will you gain out of it? And then looking at some of the different barriers that you think that your end user would have in moving towards any particular type of alternative fuels if it's not gas or diesel. Main thing you want to do is you want to educate. And these three different words: educate, acclimate, and then evaluate. We educated our end users on electrification by doing basically telematics, using telematics to actually look at their duty cycles and their driving cycles. We educated them that electric vehicle would fit that total dynamic. And we brought in basically a test electric vehicle early on and let them get acclimated to it. And then once when they got acclimated to that one vehicle, which we looked at one department specifically, and then we evaluated how the vehicle performed, what the feedback was on the vehicle itself. Was it mission capable? And did it have the size and range and what the department itself duty cycle really had to perform in a normal day-to-day operation? And of course, all the safety features were there within the vehicle in itself. So those are some of the key things you want to look at in deploying electrification. Early on, a lot of people weren't really interested in electrification because it was so new of a technology. But again, educate, acclimate, and then evaluate. Fleet culture change. We definitely had to do a culture change shift in adopting electrification. There's definitely many opportunities, and of course, there's a few challenges as well early on when we adopted our electrification movement. Back in 2014, we were early adopters. We were one of the first counties in Georgia to deploy electrification within our fleet of 2,400 vehicles at that particular time. With the opportunities of electrification, with the new improved battery life up to 10 years, 100,000 miles, little to no maintenance, totally reduced our total operational cost and total cost of ownership. There were tax incentives back then for the state when we first adopted our electrification, as well as the federal. And also utilities were on board as well. They helped us early on when we deployed our first electric charging stations throughout the county for public access. And there's a larger variety of vehicle choices currently. Back then, the Nissan Leaf was pretty much the only vehicle that were out there that was in mass production that we could utilize within our fleet itself. The improved travel distance of some of these vehicles now up to 400 miles range, and significant expansion in charging infrastructure. With all the different bills, infrastructure bill, with NEVI and a lot of different programs that are going on right now, it's really going to bolster the electrification and charging infrastructure throughout the county, throughout the state, throughout the country. Reduced charge time through DC fast chargers also help usher in electrification. With the new DC fast chargers, they're going to allow you to be able to charge your vehicle almost as fast as you will be doing at a gas station currently right now. And with battery storage and storage management during power outages, I don't know if anybody out there is familiar, which I know most probably are, with the F-150 Lightning, with the advanced charging feature that they have, where you can actually utilize that vehicle to charge your home and keep your home powered up for at least, I think, 5 to 7 days during a power outage. So the technology in vehicles and how vehicles can transcend to be, one, connected to the grid, and also two, to offset when the grid goes down, and allows you to still be able to run your home or run your business. Some of the challenges, of course, with electrification, is a culture change and range anxiety. When we first adopted electrification, most of our end users weren't really familiar with, electrification. And that's why, again, with the educate, acclimate, and evaluate was really helpful in us doing a lot of ride and drives, putting a lot of our users behind the seats of the cars, let them test drive them, let them take them and utilize them on their daily duty cycle. Charging station infrastructure and bill rate, fast charging strategic placement, trying to determine on where would you want to put a DC fast charger, kind of gets complicated at sometimes. And also with the OEMs building basically light duty vehicles, the challenges is for them to push more of the trucks and more of the heavy duty and medium duty vehicles out into the market. Maintenance and training, electric vehicle maintenance technician training has been a challenging spot. Some of the manufacturers themselves are just really getting on board to initiate their training of their technicians to support their electrification movements. In Ford and GM, they're doing a lot more in their technician training because they know they're producing more electric vehicles, and that training facet definitely needs to be there. If they're producing the vehicles, they're going to need to have people there that know how to work on the vehicles. Our electrification movement, and a lot of people ask me, Al, why do you call it a movement? A movement puts more, puts more life into what we're trying to move forward with. In Cobb County, our vision of electrification came in light of nearly a decade ago with 16 fully electric Nissan Leafs, as that picture shows right there. We were one of the first adopters of electrification in the county and as a county government in itself. And it's proved to give us the knowledge on continuing to push the electrification movement forward. And the pictures down below, I mean, a lot of people in a lot of counties and departments have a sore spot when it comes down to public safety, getting them to either try electrification or thinking that it won't fit the dynamic of their duty cycle. But as you see down below, we partnered with the sheriff of Cobb County and embracing electric vehicle in their particular fleet. And also we deployed just this year the first electric prisoner transport van in the country with the sheriff's department. And it's all about duty cycle. It's all about miles driven per day. And also it's all about total cost of ownership and also reduced cost. This electric vehicle transport, compared to a standard gas or diesel, we were able to save over $29,000 in this vehicle versus trying to buy a diesel or gas vehicle with the same specs and with the same type of payload. And then here, the sheriff themselves also, we adopted 4 Mustang Mach-E's into their fleet that they use for serving warrants and also doing a little patrolling as well. The vehicle itself fits their duty cycle, and the officers and everything really enjoy driving the vehicle because it has all the latest features that all new vehicles, of course, have. So to get your public safety department on board with your electrification movement, I'll tell you, once when you get that done, that they're going to be one of the harder ones to move forward when it comes down to electrification. So if you can get past them, you can get past any one of the departments on embracing electrification. These are some of the other electrification movements that we've actually done. This right here is our Cobb County Ranger Department. Back in 2015, we did some data analysis on our Ranger Department on the Silver Comet Trail, on how many miles they travel and the vehicles that they're currently utilizing. They were using some Yamaha dirt bikes at one time on the trail, which were noisy. It was hard to keep them up and running because of parts and other things. So we actually introduced them to the Zero Cycle. And right now, back in 2015, we put those 2 vehicles out on the road and gave them over to the Rangers Department for them to try them. They love the vehicles. The vehicles, they charge quickly. They have a 90-mile range, and they're quiet on the trail. So when we have our citizens out there enjoying the Silver Comet Trail or core properties, they're not bothered with the fumes, the noise. They can enjoy the Silver Comet Trail and any of our parks and areas with no noise. And it also serves as kind of a stealth type of device. When people are on the trail doing things they don't supposed to do, they can't hear the motorcycles pull up on them. So it adds that stealth mode in the crime prevention as far as on our Silver Comet Trail and also our core properties as well. And as you can see, we also deployed 2 more in 2018. So we have a total of 4 fully electric motorcycles to patrol our Silver Comet Trail. This right here is just a picture of some of the vehicles that we've actually deployed. We have the Mach-E's, we have the Ford Lightning, we have another Ford Lightning that's on order, electric prisoner transport van, and of course we have the Nissan Leafs, and also we have the Chevy Bolts. We also have the Ford Escape hybrids. So we're heavy in electrification in the hybrid vehicles in itself. We have roughly about 142 hybrid police interceptors. And again, like I said, if you can get the police involved in your electrification or hybrid, then that's a total win-win situation. This is some of our other sustainability in our operations. We deploy a lot of bio-based products because in sustainability, it's not all about electrification and solar. You can be sustainable in other different areas when it comes down to the chemicals you use, the greases and oils that you use as well. So we have myself and my shop supervisor, service writer, we're bio-based certified. So that means we actually are knowledgeable in what bio-based products that would fit into a fleet and what bio-based products that would work well in a fleet environment. Also, we've deployed Goodyear Eagle Enforcer tires, which are made from soy oil rather than petroleum-based oil, and we've actually put those on Chevy Tahoes. The standard tire on a Tahoe runs about $285 each. We're getting these soy-based Goodyear tires at $190 each. They last longer and they have better traction. We've been getting nothing but good reviews on these particular tires from our police department. My latest project is fleet resiliency in action, which is basically we had a GFA, which is the Georgia Environmental Funding Authority solar grant for resiliency. We've added this solar array on our building with backup power to actually offset grid charges for the building and also power our fuel island in the event of a power outage, which we finished this project up in March, which it took a little while to get it started, but our projection of utility savings should be roughly around $6,000 annually. And of course, the main thing is having backup power. You know, our facility, we service 2,700 vehicles, and if this facility goes down for any particular reason, that means our police, our fire, our sheriffs, and all of our departments that serve our citizens can't fuel at this location. So it's very important. And of course, we can't work on their vehicles to keep them on the road. So this project was a really good success, partnering with the Georgia Funding Authority and allowing us to be resilient. So when the power goes down, our fleet doesn't go down. And that's definitely totally important in sustainability and the resiliency of county assets. Just pictures of our Cobb County vehicles wrapped. And also the 2 pictures up top is Ingevity. We deployed a program with Ingevity, which is renewable natural gas last year, which this appliance basically is very, very inexpensive. It is CNG, which most people think of CNG. It's a very heavy lift, roughly $1 million worth of infrastructure to be able to do a CNG station. This station was roughly $2,500 because it operates on a lower PSI and it operates on renewable natural gas. So that's another box we checked as far as renewable energy used to power our fleet. Electric vehicle training, that was one of the key facets of what people are concerned about. Us being early adopters back in 2014, our technicians had firsthand look and firsthand utilization of training when it comes down to electrification. So we share that information with a lot of municipalities and people that are looking to move towards electrification on what needs to get done in maintaining electric vehicles. As you look at the picture here, the vehicle BMW motor, all engines have over 200 moving parts that have to be maintained and replaced. Electric vehicle only has 20. So you think about the dynamic of how many parts you need to change and how many parts could fail. I mean, the total cost of ownership of electric vehicle is totally lower than a combustion engine, and the overall ownership. And it reduces your total operational cost in respect to there's parts not to be changed, there's not gas that you need to, and the total kilowatt hours it takes to charge the vehicle is totally minimal. And the chart that's above, these are basically the maintenance points that you would do on a Chevy Bolt. As you can see, there's not much you need to do when you're doing a preventative maintenance on electric vehicle. Very minimum. All we've done on our vehicles have rotated the tires, changed the tires. We haven't put brakes on our Nissan Leafs that we've incepted into our fleet since 2015. We haven't changed the brakes on them. With the regenerative braking, and as you well know, with a standard combustion engine, with standard braking, you're definitely going to go through brakes. So those are just some of the key facets in ushering in electrification where you're going to save money and reduce the amount of parts that you're changing off the vehicle. Telling your story, we posted out on LinkedIn. We put out different papers on our electrification movement, and it inspires others. I mean, what's the point of them trying to recreate the wheel when they can jump on the wheel and ride with you? People have come to us many a times asking us about our electrification movement, and we've given them good information to help them spearhead their particular electrification push wherever they want to go. And we tell them the story about it, the good, the bad, and the ugly about electrification and the journey. It always helps motivate people, and also giving them visual aids and videos. We do produce videos on most all of our electrification push and movements that we've done in the past.
Hey, Al, when you're looking at this and people are inspired by you, I want to encourage everyone out there, whether or not you're a private sector, public sector entity, I'm sure many of the organizations in Cobb County and the great state of Georgia probably look at you and say, okay, how did you do this? What are the gotchas? How did you deal with, when do you build out your own charging infrastructure? When do you use third-party infrastructure? What may be happening as it looks like Tesla seems to be emerging as the de facto charging connector? How do we do transitions? Are those some of the areas that you might be willing to help some of the people on this webinar with?
That's for sure. That is definitely for sure, because we partner with a lot of different companies that do turnkey charging. We've done a lot of ours from the beginning. So we have the experience from the ground up, from when utilities and when people weren't trying to find a space to put chargers. So yes, we're definitely open to that particular conversation. And then with what we also deployed was Ask the EV Expert. We have a web page on our site and also an email address where our citizens and our customers can ask us EV questions to continue their education in electrification. Next slide is basically just some of our accolades. We've been part of the 100 Best Fleet, Green Fleet, Southeastern Government Fleet Management Association, Green Garage. Just some of the things that we've done over the years. And Ron, I appreciate the time. And I hope if anybody has any questions, please field the questions. And I'm open to answer any particular questions, because we have a vast amount of knowledge on the electrification movement, charging stations, working with utilities to move the needle on infrastructure as well. Thanks again, Ron. Turn it over to you.